There's no denying that Gwen seriously damaged her relationship with Miles.
Bye, Gwen.
She made choices that completely shattered his trust in her, and it all traces back to the influence of Miguel. I wouldn't go as far as saying she was brainwashed, but it's clear she was manipulated, maybe even pressured into believing this idea that she was destined to suffer because of the so-called canon events. Once she accepted that belief, she got stuck in it, almost like it became part of how she saw her life. When Gwen first met Miguel, her initial reaction wasn't suspicion, it was admiration. She was impressed by him, especially by the fact that he could travel between dimensions using a watch he created himself. I'm willing to bet that one of the very first thoughts that crossed her mind in that moment was, this could finally give me a chance to see Miles again.
Can you go to any dimension you want with that watch?
It's much cooler than a watch.
That possibility alone must have felt huge to her. But things took a turn after her falling out with her dad.
I don't know how to fix this.
That's when Miguel extended an invitation for her to join the Spider Society.
Yeah. Well, join the club.
At the time, it might have seemed like a lifeline, a way out of a painful situation she wasn't ready to confront. In truth, the Spider Society became more than just a team for Gwen, it became an escape. Instead of facing the emotional mess and unresolved problems back home, she buried herself in this new world. It was easier to lose herself in missions, rules, and the sense of belonging the society gave her than to go back and fix what was broken in her own life. To her, the Spider Society wasn't just about protecting the multiverse. It was a refuge, a place to hide from the things she didn't want to deal with. We never actually see what Gwen's very first day in the Spider Society was like. The movie skips over it completely, so we don't know how she was welcomed, what she felt, or how fast she adjusted. But one thing's for sure, at some point early on, she was introduced to a concept that was both shocking and deeply unpleasant, the idea of a canon event. A canon event is basically a major life event that every single Spider-Man in every universe is supposed to experience. And the disturbing part isn't just what the event is, it's what happens if it doesn't play out the way it's supposed to. According to Miguel and the Spider Society, if a canon event is disrupted, the entire universe connected to that Spider-Man could unravel and collapse. Because of this belief, the Spider Society sees itself as a kind of multiversal police force. Their job is to monitor every Spider-Man in every dimension, making sure these canon events happen exactly as they're intended, even when those events mean incredible pain or loss. That's the twisted part. They know exactly when and how these tragedies will happen, and even who will be affected, yet they stand by and do nothing to stop it. In their eyes, it's better to let one person suffer, or even die, than to risk the stability of an entire universe.
You have a choice between saving one person and saving an entire world, every world.
For Gwen, this wasn't just a theory or a story Miguel told her, she saw it for herself. She witnessed firsthand what happens when a canon event is broken, and it wasn't pretty. That experience made the whole concept feel terrifyingly real to her. On top of that, she learned an even more personal and painful truth about Miles. She found out that he was never supposed to be Spider-Man at all. The spider that bit him didn't even come from his universe. It was an accident, something that never should have happened. This made him an anomaly in the multiverse, and because of that, Gwen was told she wasn't allowed to get close to him. That was the moment she realized Miguel wasn't just being dramatic. He was dead serious about his rules and his mission. She didn't just believe him because of his authority, she believed him because she had already seen the catastrophic consequences of breaking a canon event. And even though it's a messed up system that means letting innocent people die, Gwen convinced herself that following it was the only right thing to do.
Gwen, heads up. Markers are predicting an incoming canon event, so tread carefully.
I'm on it.
When Gwen first joined the Spider Society, she looked up to Miguel. She admired him for the fact that he had built an entire organization made up of spider people from across the multiverse. And she was impressed by his ability to travel between dimensions using a device he had created himself. On top of that, he had this commanding presence, the kind of leadership that made him seem like someone worth following. But even with all that admiration, Gwen found herself in a difficult position when it came to Miles. She started keeping important information from him, information she knew could completely change their relationship. She probably understood that if Miles ever found out about his supposed canon event, he would try to fight it, no matter the risk. And she had already seen what happens when a canon event is disrupted. Everything can collapse, entire universes can disappear. That was the lesson Miguel and the Spider Society drilled into her from the start, and it made her terrified of losing Miles forever. Still, hiding the truth came at a cost. Gwen thought she was protecting him, but by not being honest, she ended up hurting him more than she ever intended. It was the biggest mistake she made in their relationship. The turning point for Gwen began when she saw the way Miguel was treating Miles, and this was even before the big multiversal chase. She was already feeling frustrated with him, though at first she stayed quiet. But the tension built until she couldn't ignore it anymore. For the very first time, she openly confronted Miguel about the whole canon event idea.
Why didn't he listen?
Maybe you weren't hard enough on him.
You know for certain what happens if he breaks the canon?
Yes, she had seen firsthand the destruction that comes when a canon event is broken, but in that moment, after hearing Miles question the morality of letting innocent people die just because it's supposed to happen, Gwen began questioning it too. She didn't just blindly accept Miguel's rules like she did when she first joined the society, she pushed back. And that pushback got her kicked out. Up until then, Gwen had always believed she was doing the right thing by following the canon and letting things play out exactly as Miguel wanted. But now, doubts started to creep in. She began wondering if they were really the good guys after all. And with those doubts came a major shift in how she saw Miguel. The respect, the admiration, the idea of him as a strong and inspiring leader, all of that faded. She no longer saw him as a role model. Instead, she saw someone whose version of saving the multiverse came with a price she wasn't sure was worth paying. Looking back, getting kicked out of the Spider Society was actually the best thing that could have happened to Gwen. It might not have felt that way at the moment, but it forced her to finally stop running away from her problems and face them head on. For so long, the Spider Society had been her escape, a place where she could bury herself in missions and rules instead of dealing with the things that hurt her. But once she was out, she didn't have that shield anymore. She had to confront her mistakes and make her own choices without Miguel or anyone else telling her what she should or shouldn't do. One of the biggest realizations she had after being kicked out was something she should have recognized much earlier, that she needed to be on Miles' side from the very beginning. When it came down to choosing between him and the Spider Society, she had chosen the Society. She told herself it was the right decision, but deep down, it was because she believed Miguel's warnings about canon events without question. But after seeing firsthand how Miguel treated Miles, and after everything that unfolded, she finally found the courage to question everything. And the moment she started thinking for herself, things began to change. She reconnected with her father, made peace with him, and proved to herself that she could make things right without following someone else's script. Now, she has the freedom to stand beside Miles, someone who has always been important to her, someone who played a huge role in shaping who she is today. He's also the person she fell in love with, but never allowed herself to embrace, always afraid that being too close to him would cause something terrible to happen. That fear, along with the lies and secrecy, is what damaged their relationship so badly. But now, without the Spider Society controlling her decisions, Gwen can work to rebuild that trust. And if she succeeds, her redemption arc with Miles could be something truly special. She also learned something that completely changes the way she sees Miguel's rules. Canon events can be broken without destroying the universe.
Wait a minute, you're not gonna be captain? That means...
In her own world, her father stepping down as captain should have caused everything to unravel, at least according to Miguel's logic. But it didn't. Her universe is still intact, and that realization shattered the unbreakable myth Miguel had been pushing. Miguel didn't exactly brainwash Gwen, but he did force his beliefs on her, and not just her. Many members of the Spider Society had been convinced that they were destined to suffer and that accepting this fate was the only way to keep their worlds safe. But thanks to Miles being the first to openly challenge that belief, cracks began to form in Miguel's authority. Some Spider people started to question whether letting innocent people die for the sake of the canon was truly the right thing to do. Personally, I believe the canon can be broken without destroying the universe, and Gwen's story is living proof. That's why her perspective on Miguel has changed so much. She went from admiring him as a strong, inspiring leader to realizing he is not the example she once thought he was.
One thing I learned from Miles: it's all possible.